So if you know anything about Clash Royale right now, you probably know that the game is not in a good spot right now. Like, everyone has made a video about it already. Like, B Rad made a video, Boss has made a video, your grandma probably made a video as well. So like, the main issue everyone is talking about in those videos is how Clash Royale is slowly becoming more pay to win and less accessible for free-to-play players if you don't spend money on the game. Which is, you know, it's totally fair, and it's like true. Like, if you play the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. However, the issues that I do have with these complaints is that it's easy to look at the new features Clash Royale released and then just say that the existence of those new features is the reason why Clash Royale is struggling. And you know, in the off chance Supercell actually wants to fix their game, I want them to actually tackle the core problems of the games and not the ones that are super subjective. So in this video, I want to talk about what I think is the actual problem within Clash Royale and the things that are subjective, not important, or not a part of the main issue. But let me introduce myself first so you guys know where I'm coming from. I am a returning Clash Royale player and I've been playing the game almost daily ever since last year. I also barely spend any money on the game, so my profile would likely suit someone who wants to just have fun on the game without spending much money. With that out of the way, how's the game doing right now? Well, the game is in a really bad spot right now. To start, I want to distinguish between the problems that are subjective versus the problems that are objectively problematic to the game, and it's the reason why Clash Royale is having its downfall right now. These subjective features are the concept of evolutions, the concept of tower troops, and the concept of Goblin Queen / new king mode.
Skippity when?
The reason why I say these features are subjective is because if done properly, these features can fix the game to a lot of players who thought the game was getting stale. They can also ruin the game for people who were satisfied with the game's state before these features were introduced, but ultimately the concept of these features are not the reason why Clash Royale is struggling right now. For example, the reason why I returned back to the game in the first place is because of evolutions. It's my type of gameplay and it makes the game feel more fun to me, but I also understand if people don't really like evolutions as an idea. But someone saying I don't like evolutions versus evolutions are a problem are two different things that oftentimes gets misinterpreted as one thing. The problem is how monetized all of these features are. But before I get talking about them, I first need to talk about the one feature that is objectively awful to the game's state and has been ruining this game ever since its release, and that is none other than level 15. Boy, where do I start with this? When the game had less levels, you have less to grind for. You wanna know what makes level 15 so stupid? It's the fact that you need a specific type of currency that is very expensive, by the way, and you need 50,000 of them to level up one card from level 14 to level 15. And these things are not easy to get as a free-to-play player. In order to get these elite wildcards, you need to grind competitive mode and you also need to be good at it. And you better be quick too, because if you're not good enough, boom, your progress restarts in each month. But even if you are good enough, how long would it actually take for you to level up just to one card? The answer to that is 1 to 2 months. So 1 to 2 months if you're good enough, but if you're bad at the game or the meta is just against you, well, tough luck, buddy. See you in like 6 months. As for the impact of level 15, let me demonstrate an example to prove just how harmful level 15 actually is. I just happen to be a wall breaker main for almost a year now. At the start of the year, the wall breakers were pretty powerful. In fact, most cycle decks were pretty powerful. Because I was comfortable with my deck, I had to invest my resources on them to even get a chance at playing in an even playing field. But due to the game's state, it took me ages to level up my entire deck to level 14, and it took me even longer to upgrade those cards to level 15. But then this sucker came around and then just obliterates every single cycle deck. Actually, let me rephrase that for a second. She wasn't just a hard counter to every cycle deck, she was a hard counter to everything, period. This tower troop was released on such an overpowered state that it killed multiple archetypes. If you don't have her equipped, you'll be in an automatic disadvantage. You were forced to play the game in a specific archetype, otherwise you would just not win. Maybe you might think, that's okay Shades, you can just choose the cards that can counter her and the archetype that can beat her. Playing the same deck archetype would likely just make the game feel stale anyway, so it's nice to change up. I can't. I can't change my deck archetype without paying a lot of money to Supercell. Remember, it took me so long for me to just invest in my deck, just for me to be able to fight players in an even playing field. I don't have the luxury to change up my whole deck, and neither did many other players. So until Dagger Duchess was nerfed, we had to either spend a whole lot of money to even get a chance to winning the game, or just live with the pain. So not only is level 15 the main reason why the game is struggling right now, it also amplifies the other biggest issue about the game, which I will be covering right now. Have I ever told you that not only does Clash Royale sell level 15 currencies in the shop, but they also offer the overpowered cards that you can buy to level 14. This is the monetization problem with Supercell that I skipped earlier. See, this issue I talked about with Dagger Duchess, it applies to almost every other feature that they previously released. They release overpowered cards that free-to-play players can't access. They put the OP cards in the Battle Pass or on the Season Shop, and once they make enough money, they nerf those cards to the ground. And the cycle repeats. Let's check out evolutions, for example. You know, the feature that I say I love. In order to evolve a card, you need 6 evolution shards. But where do you get these evolution shards anyway? Well, as a free-to-play player, the most realistic way to get evolution shards is by getting them at the Season Shop. But the thing is, they freaking capped the freaking Season Shop. You can only get 1 Evo Wild Shard per month. The other way is that you need to hope that Supercell is feeling like giving away the evolutions of your choice. I'm not gonna put lucky drops as a proper way to get evolutions for free because it's random chance, and I'm not even gonna mention the other ways you can get evolutions for free because those methods are a joke. Because of how hard it is to get an evolution for free, Supercell likes to release a broken evolution that free-to-play players can barely access. Once Supercell got their money, they nerfed those evolutions to the ground again. Sometimes the evolution is so strong that the meta is based off that evolution. While of course there are cards that can counter those evolutions, oh no, what's this? Looks like your card counters are deeply underleveled and you can't really play the card unless you give Supercell money. And it just sucks. And this is from someone who loves evolutions, by the way. Sure, it's pretty fun for me to see the game getting more chaotic in a fun way, but if you're unable to fight back unless you give Supercell money, now that is a huge problem. They're doing this because they want to pump out money from the frustrations of their players. At first I thought this only applies to evolutions and tower troops, but nope. They released 3 normal cards in such an overpowered state that they basically deal the same effect as overpowered evolutions and overpowered tower troops. I don't get why they're doing this. It doesn't make their game fun. It doesn't make them money either. So why are they doing this? And plus they're spending their money on animation and lore? Look, I really love animations and lore as much as the next guy, but there's so many things that the game needs fixing right now, and this is not one of them. There's also other problems like Supercell's obsession with capping things. They really set a hard limit on how much free-to-play players can progress if they don't pay money. This lack of free-to-play progression alongside with the monetization that pretty much if you don't pay them you lose is really ruining the game. And you know what's so ironic about all these features? All of these features can be fun for the players who like these concepts if they are more accessible. Actually, it would be more fun for everyone if normal cards in general were more accessible. Cause if the meta changes, at least we can change our decks too, you know? The cycle for these things don't stop and it seems that it even is getting worse. And that's pretty much why I made this video. It's because I want the cycle to stop because it's not healthy for the game. Oh, and one more thing. It took me almost 1 year for me to start getting my second Evo slot. Wow.
So, Shades, what am I supposed to say in your video again?
Oh, the video's over. I'm leaving now.
Wait, what? Seriously? Why did you even call me here? Oh, well, then since that little goofball is gone, I do have a philosophical question for you, my dudes. If I can jump indefinitely, forever, does that count as flying?